Welcome back. Channel 3 Sports Director Joe Zone is joining me now to talk about sports and what we can expect from our favorite teams in the new year. I think if we sat here on this day last year, and I had seen the UConn men play a couple times, and I said, man, they look good. They look talented. Adama, they look good. I don't know that I would have predicted they would go on the run that they went on. So here we are entering a new year, new team, look pretty good. What do you think?
I think they're better than last year, which is hard to say when you consider that they lost, three guys who went on to the NBA and are playing there now on some of their teams. But I think they're better. But look, it's brutal out there. The big teams that were picked to finish ahead of UConn in the Big East, they've already lost. UConn's lost in the Big East. The schedule is so difficult to get through week after week after week, game after game. So I think we're going to be sitting here in March, and I think they're a Final Four team again. Now, injuries play a big part in it, as we know, for both teams, right? There's no doubt about that. And UConn's already been hit by one or two early in the season. The men, women, same thing. Injuries are the key factor, but as they stack up right now, I think the UConn men are in the Final Four again.
And so much of it in that stuff, breaks have to fall your way, brackets have to fall your way. There's so many factors that can play into it. You want to just have a ticket to be there, of course, right?
Well, the thing for UConn, number one seed in the East, that means they get to play in Brooklyn and Boston. So that's going to travel well. I mean, that's UConn Nation on the road, and then the Final Four is in Phoenix. But if they can keep that number one seed East Regional, they're all drivable for all UConn fans. They're going to have a big contingent no matter where they go.
Let's talk about the women. Yep. Everybody was so excited. Paige and Azzi Fudd, they were going to play together. This was going to be, and then it didn't work out.
Remember my interview I did with Gino before the season started. It's going to be great to be able to talk about practice without having the medical team in to tell us who's playing and who's not today. And here we are, 3 months into the season, and already they're talking about the medical team and who's playing and who's not playing.
And who's traveling and who's not traveling.
So I think they're good enough, just the way they're composed, because players are going to get better. I mean, they're going to be led by their seniors. There's no doubt about it. Lee Edwards certainly, and Aubrey Griffin has been phenomenal.
I agree.
Coming off the bench. I mean, what a player to come off the bench.
So poised. So poised, Aubrey Griffin.
So I think that the freshmen will be the key to this team. KK Arnold. Dramatic.
Ashlyn looks great.
Ashlyn Shade. I mean, the last couple of games, she's getting more confidence as a freshman, playing in tough games. All of it beneficial when you get down to the stretch, and I think that's another team. I know people, you have to laugh. They lost 3 games, 3 teams in the top 5. Now, they used to win those games all the time, so people get nervous. But they lost 3 games to teams rated in the top 5 in the country when they lost them. So I don't get quite as carried away and worried about the record. I don't have the early history of the 90s and 2000s when they just tap danced through everything. But I know what it means to play that kind of a schedule. They'll get better, and I still see them as a Final Four team.
And some, we didn't even mention Nika Mule. She's now battle tested, has been through the ringer. Running point. Paige looks great. So they're certainly dinged up, but they got the pieces.
If they play to their best, which is what you hope for in March, they're going to be right there.
Let's talk about some high school stuff. The shot clock is a big high school basketball story, and it's one of those things. I mean, I almost can't believe you go see them. I haven't seen a high school game in a long time. Right. It seems like such an elemental change.
Well, you would think that, except that it costs money to put it up. I'm hearing anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. You've got to have people run it.
Yep.
That person gets hired, gets paid. So all summer, the CIAC had courses to teach people how to run it, how to put it in. And look, it's a 35-second shot clock. What's that mean? In the old days, you could take one shot and run the dribble out the whole game. Now, every 35 seconds, like in college and like most states around the country, you got to take a shot off. So some coaches don't like it. Coaches, for instance, who have dominating teams, now they're already up by 50.
You can't play keep away anymore.
Well, not only that, but they're up by 50, and they have to keep taking shots, which looks bad. So I've had a couple of coaches already, they just let the shot clock run out so they're not rubbing it in. And it probably will eliminate some of those upsets where if an coach team, under player team gets the lead, they can't run the clock out. They're going to have to keep playing. So that's the big thing. But the coaches with the good teams who like to run and shoot, we had a game the other night with 100 points scored in it in overtime. Windsor, 101 points, so they're going to like us.
And another one that we're talking about maybe for 24 is this high school football changes. Just real quick because we're running low on time. Is that something that's coming down the pike? Those Thanksgiving Day games, people love those.
Almost every coach I've talked to who plays in those games doesn't want to give them up. And I don't think, even if they said, let's do it this year, things move very slowly around the state when it comes to changing high school sports. I'd be shocked if we see anything this year change to eliminating Thanksgiving games. I think they're going to play next year, too.
And listen, expanded playoff sounds great, but they need that week, and then it's a domino.
You got to start earlier, like most states do, and then you got to take out Thanksgiving Day games meaning anything to most teams who are going to be in playoffs. A lot of teams don't want to do that.
Travelers coming up this year. We've seen all this live and the PGA Tour and changes in movement. What are you looking for?
Here's the big change you're going to see this year. So we always get the good players. That's not no cuts. 70 players, all of them will play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Half the field doesn't go home now. Everybody gets paid. Everybody plays. So if you've got a favorite player and you come out there on Thursday, you know they're going to be there through Sunday. That's the biggest change. The rest of it is so political, and there's so many billionaires involved, it's impossible to track that. But if you like the tournament and you want to see the players, they're going to be here all the way through the end, and it's always going to be the big names.
And we only have about 20 seconds left, but if the course shoots some low scores, you might be out of it on Thursday and right back in it on Sunday.
You always can come back at that golf course. One of the things I like about it, after the U.S. Open, when scores of 1 under win, you can come out here and shoot 18 under and win.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Joe Zone, our sports director, thank you for being with us on the very last CT23. We'll change the name and have you back next year.
Alphabetically.
That is CT23 for this week and for this year. CBS Sunday Morning is coming up next. Have a safe and happy New Year. We'll meet you back here in Studio A for the debut of CT24. That's coming up, of course, next Sunday morning.